This is our paranormal podcast because this is our paranormal community, and we want to support you here on RU Media Network. We are proud to be sponsored by the Haunted Hinsdale House in Hinsdale, New York. Here are your hosts, Brian Mersall and Shawn Gilmore.
There, that's better. Oh man, I'll tell you, we've been doing this podcast, I think, for 2 years now. One of these days, I'm going to get used to StreamYard and doing the intro and outros right. But other than that, guys, welcome to our Paranormal podcast. Brian, how you doing, brother?
Good. How are you, Shawn?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. It's been a crazy, crazy month. It feels like it's been forever since we had a show. And this week we have a really, really awesome show. So, and an incredible guest. We're going to get to take a little bit different look at things than what we normally do as far as the paranormal. It's going to be a lot of fun. Our guest is Kari, the Mortician, and it's exactly as she says. That's what she does. What? It's crazy. And she's a crazy famous YouTuber. She has like 97,000 followers.
Yeah, 97,500, I think, almost. So
That's
I don't know
insane.
if famous is the right word, but I'm there.
97,000 is famous.
Yeah, I'm legit.
97,000 is famous to me, if you ask. I don't know. I'm just a little guy. So
it gets me street cred with my kids. That's all that matters. So
yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that's so true. Now, what they forgot to do before the show is get the banner okayed by you. So I'm just going to go ahead and play it. It's just you and your website. I wanted to tag your Facebook, but the Facebook, the link was only just a bunch of letters and stuff. I figured people could just search Kari the Mortician on YouTube.
Yeah, if you type in Kari the Mortician, you're going to find me. It's yeah.
It really is that easy. It was that easy for me, and there is so much content there. First, before we dive into this, though, there's a few house cleaning things I need to take care of. So the way that I was introduced to Kari was actually through my good friend Vicky. I want to give her a huge thank you and a huge shout out to Ghost Cam, guys. If you have a paranormal investigation planned for the Hinsdale House or the Cambry House and Farm in Nuevo, Illinois, get Ghost Cam. Brian and I got Ghost Cam when we investigated the Hinsdale House, and it made setup so much easier, so much faster. And there's actually a point in time when I got a response to shaving a haircut, and I was able to go through all of the camera footage, and I found the camera with the sound on it. It came out very faintly, but it's there, and it's caught on camera thanks to Ghost Cam. So huge shout out to Vicky. So for that, and go check out Ghost Cam. Another thing real quick, Paranormal Awards, guys. It's that time of year. I know nobody likes Paranormal Awards, but you know what? This is a good friend of mine started this award, and you just go and you send an email with your list of nominees and why you want to nominate them. So they want to know why you nominated them, and then your nominees. There's a list on the Paranormal Awards Facebook page, and then you just email. I had the email address up. It's paranormalawards@gmail.com, and you just give your list of nominees, guys, and make sure to do it. It supports all of us in the community, and that's what it's all about, guys. It's just about supporting. Every nomination that you're making is helping get their name out there. It's getting their team out there. It's getting their content out there, and that's what this is all about. It's about supporting. It's not about winning. It's about supporting and having fun. So there, I'm done. That's my house cleaning for now. I have another big thing to bring up, but I don't want to take up the beginning of the show. I'll end the show with that one because I really want the focus to be on Kari because I really, really want to pick your brain. This is going to be a lot of fun, and I know we have a lot of questions. We have a lot of people already commenting here, saying hi. We have Tony Santori, Melvin Seaborn. He's another content creator. Man, Kathy Cohen. She says hi, Kari.
Hey, everybody. Oh, there is chat going on. Oh my gosh, I didn't know I could see this chat on the side. That's crazy.
Yeah. How do I join in the conversation? Gerald Lawson. Jared, you know what? Just ask your questions here, and we will ask them for you. We'll kind of go from there. So please, guys, make sure you ask your questions. Who knows what rabbit holes we're going to go down today? Because we have paranormal, we have all sorts of how you have two paranormal investigators interviewing a mortician. So this is gonna be interesting. So I'm just gonna start off because we're paranormal investigators. First, Kari.
Yes.
Let's have people. I mean, not everybody reads our the info on the shows before coming on. So can you just kind of tell us a little bit about yourself? Maybe tell us how you got into doing your YouTube content.
Of course. So I've worked in a funeral home since I was 16. Never anticipated this, being my career, and I kind of just kept going with it because it was so comfortable. And I've been licensed almost 20 years. In April, it'll be 20 years, which is insane to me. And about, how long ago was it? 2000 and, I don't even know. I think I'm in year 4, almost 4.5 of YouTube or something. And I was in between working at places and kind of needed something to do. I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. I'm trying to figure out my next step. And my husband at the time said, why don't you do some just Facebook Live videos? Just answer some questions. He said, maybe there's a platform, social media wise, to answer questions. I had no interest. I think it's so geeky saying you're a YouTuber. Like, it just really is, to me at least. And so I answered about 15 questions or so for my family and friends, and then they started wanting to share them. And I didn't want to share my Facebook publicly. So somebody said, why don't you put them on YouTube? So I did. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden I had 100 subscribers, and I was like, who are these people and why did they find me, or how did they find me? And then they started asking more questions. So then I'd do another video and I'd upload it. And it just kind of was the slowest snowball effect ever, it feels like, because everything's been really slow, really organic, nothing sensationalistic, nothing really contrived, I would say, to try to get more subscribers or try to jump. And it's just gone along, I think, nice that I can connect. And the more I do, the more I get excited about what I'm doing, the more I learn. Here in Southwest Michigan, it's kind of vanilla. It's pretty mainstream. We don't get a lot of variety of anything. People start asking questions about burials in New Orleans and why did they do this and that? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't even know. So then I had to start educating myself on that. And why do you do this in this country? And why does this happen? And oh my gosh, I didn't even know that was a thing. I didn't even know, full couch versus half couch. We don't do full couch here. All right, why? So it was a huge education level for me to get to dive into without sitting in a class, because I hate class learning. Like, I'm not a class learner. I'm a hands-on, dive in. So this has been a great platform for me to learn and me to grow and share with other people. And the relationships I have built with some of my viewers and with other professionals has been life altering in so many ways. So it's changed me in ways I never knew it could. So it's been a great thing for me, let alone the people that have found answers to what they need. I mean, the beautiful emails I get is what keeps me going, doing this completely.
Wow.
I'm sure you get like a lot of different people that come and follow you. I'm sure that there's people who recently lost loved ones. I'm sure you get nurses, I'm sure you get it's all everybody. Like you touch your line of work touches everybody at some point in time.
Well, that's
And
the cool part of it is every person has to go through a funeral home at some point. Every denomination, every economic status, everything, I could be working with like the CEO of a huge multi-million dollar company, and then 5 minutes later working with a homeless, family of a homeless person, and then a motorcycle gang person, and then like all in the matter of 24 hours. And that's the cool thing about it.
yeah, you probably get to meet all sorts of people. That's interesting. And then now I know when you are doing your job and the you don't see people die. You don't see that. When the when the when you're doing your work, you're dealing with just the shell of the body, right?
Correct.
I'm assuming so. So like, there's no like soul left. Like, have you like, because we're all paranormal investigators, so
Right.
I've got to get into this. Like, have you had like a spiritual or any sort of paranormal like thing happen to you while you were working with somebody?
Never with the deceased. I've had experiences which are unexplainable, which is what paranormal means specifically, but not pertaining to the deceased I'm caring for. That's outside of them, either somewhere else within the building or kind of on my own. I lived in a house, I swear to Jiminy, was haunted. And so when I'm caring for a deceased, there's literally to me no feeling of anything being there with them, anything at all. It's just a body. There's nothing. I talk to them. I, still communicate, but there's no feeling of a presence coming with them, or,
Right.
they say like on a deathbed where somebody's laying there and like their spirit's hovering above them looking down. They're not laying on the prep table with this spirit hovering above in my feeling.
Right.
That's my opinion. Other people might differ, but I'm not feeling it at all.
Right. Well, I mean, I definitely makes sense to me. I mean, there's a lot of people like to go investigate cemeteries. I don't even know. I think that if a cemetery is haunted, it's not because of who's buried there. It's because of other things that may have happened in the land. That's my personal opinion, because, I mean, when someone passes and their spirit wants to or feels the need to be somewhere, it's not going to be there where they have no history.
Right.
So they're going to be with their loved ones. And but it does seem like there are a lot of funeral homes that end up being haunted.
Well, and I question, like, some of it you wonder, okay, are they truly haunted, or is some of it implied because of the place it is? Like, ooh, it's a funeral home, so I think this should be haunted. I think is some of it where it's a cooler story if you say you experience something where maybe it's not always the full truth. But yeah, I think a lot of times, because funeral homes were old residences, people lived there. A lot of funeral homes. So there's a lot of history of living there and people dying there, being laid out there, and then going and being buried. So it's more potentially from that living portion of people being there than it is from the newer. There was a funeral home I stayed at, and I could not physically bring myself to sleep. And I tried many times. I was filling in there. It was a old building, had a carriage house, had servants' quarters, everything. I could only sleep in the space that was newly remodeled. That was the only space I could actually sleep in, because everywhere else, it felt like someone was right there with me, and it creeped me the heck out. I just couldn't do it. I went home covering that place so exhausted every time, because I just couldn't go in other areas comfortably without feeling like somebody was with me the whole time, which is fine that they're there. Great, be there. And I would just sleep in the other areas.
Yeah.
figured out my way of, making it through being there. But man, was it exhausting for a while.
I could only imagine. And do you live in where you work too? Do you live in a funeral home?
I don't.
Like the movie My Girl? I don't know if Brian's old enough for the movie My Girl. Like Macaulay Culkin was in it, and like it's probably his only really good movie.
It's a classic, and so many people love that movie because I think it resonated an emotion with so many people with that like first experience with death and seeing somebody at a funeral home and stuff. But there are still funeral homes people live in like that. But a lot of them, the upstairs living quarter has now been turned into the offices or something else, or maybe the apprentice lives there, something that's not as common in a lot of areas, but it still does exist.
Definitely. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, here we have questions coming in the chat.
Yeah, there's quite a few of them.
There are a lot. And so Aaron Kasmarsik wants to know, where's the question? Do you do autopsies or do you just prepare the bodies for funeral?
So funeral directors don't do autopsies. Autopsies are done by a medical examiner or a pathologist. They're the ones that do autopsies. We don't remove anything from a deceased. We put them back together after an autopsy is done, if there is an autopsy. Everyone does not get an autopsy. So if they do have an autopsy, then they come to us. And if they need to be embalmed, then we kind of put them all back together. But we do not take anything out per se. We don't remove organs.
Oh, Melvin. Did John say My Girl is the only good movie? Macaulay Culkin. Are you going to say that Home Alone? Or was it Home Alone? Whatever.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, that is what I said. I'm sticking to it. I'm not a big Macaulay Culkin fan. I apologize, but I like that movie. I remember watching that when I was a kid. So.
His glasses. Where are his glasses?
I know. And then the bees. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Brian, you have to watch it.
Yeah.
I've been persuaded.
You've got to, man. It's a classic.
That's happening in the second half of the podcast.
We're going to be watching.
Watch the movie. Obviously, no copyrights here.
Oh, that's funny.
Tina wants to know, how did you get into it? So how did you get in? Yeah, how does one get into the line of work of being an electrician?
So it's a lot of it is going to be a same story you hear by a lot of people. Either sometimes it's family, or you need a job and you grew up near a funeral home, somebody, you started mowing the lawns, then you started going on removals. So my mom was the aftercare coordinator at a funeral home. I turned 16 and I needed a job. So that was my job after school and weekends. As I worked the visitations, I would greet people, set up chairs, type paperwork, answer phones, sit and answer phones for long shifts on the weekend. This was before cell phones were a big thing. People still had pagers. We didn't have answering services as much. So someone physically had to answer the phone all the time. And so I did that. So.
Okay. So it's been like a lifetime thing. So it's like me, my first job was working in the food industry, and I got out of that as soon as I could. So it's like but for you, it grew and blossomed to this awesome thing.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah, my mom was like, why do you not try this? I'm like, well, I guess I can. And of course, mom was right. We never want to admit that until we're older. But, 27 years, I think, in the business now, and it's going to stick, I think. So.
Yeah. Why do you think that in like a lot of buildings that we go to, whether if it is a old funeral home or if it's an old hospital or psych ward, whatever, how come people are always so drawn to the areas, to the morgues, and to where the refrigerators were and where the cremations were taking place? Why do you think people are so into that?
You mean like
those locations of the buildings?
Or you think because the more paranormal activity there?
I mean, I think that people think that there is more paranormal activity in those areas. And I think that, do you think that they, just because they associate those areas with death, or is it because of something else?
I love that you want me to just like ponder on this.
Oh, that's what we do. This is the world of a paranormal investigator, where we have our regular day jobs, and then we sit and we think and we ponder and we wonder.
And it's funny because I never thought I would have an opinion on this, but I actually do now that you question me. I think that, so if I was to go into a space that had a place for the dead, as a paranormal investigator, I would go to that place more so and spend far more time investigating there than I would the office where someone worked, So I think because more energy is focused there, you're going to obviously find more there. So to me, that's a big thing. It's intriguing. We're all intrigued by death because it's something we absolutely cannot 100% understand until we have gone, and then we obviously can't report on it. So that's why people are so intrigued by, I think, what I do and what we do, because the more we maybe understand about the process, maybe it relieves something. And that's what I get a lot of emails about is, so-and-so died, my son died, and he was cremated. And now that I'm watching your videos, I'm understanding the process he went through, and it brings me a little peace.
Nice.
Or, and 20 years later, it's bringing someone some peace because they didn't understand what happened during the embalming or why this happened or whatever. And so I think it's that intrigue in death that is in all of us, that we maybe, if we can go to that place of death, maybe someone from the other side can talk to us from that place and can answer something for us. And so I think as a paranormal investigator, that's probably just, it stirs up that intrigue even more, because what if I'm the person that connects to the other side and they give me that answer that everybody wants, almost kind of thing. There's that big question that nobody has the answer for. So why not go for it? And maybe, I don't know. I don't know how spirits work. I don't know how any of it works. And maybe it does follow more to that place of death, to the morgue, to the crematory area. Maybe, I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. I think that, I know, maybe if they're lost and confused, maybe they're stuck with their body until they figure it out. I don't know.
Could be.
That's an interesting thought, though, for sure.
Yeah.
Melvin asks, what would you say is one of the more misunderstood aspects of being a mortician?
I feel like the understood aspects would be a much shorter list, Melvin, literally, because there's so much misinformation about being a funeral director and being an embalmer in so many areas. I mean, if we had to dive into different areas about, the charges that we have, the cost is a huge thing that we get slammed on so often, or why do we embalm, people not understanding the laws around it, or what we actually do during our process of embalming or during cremation, or bodies do not sit up, people, never, 100%, it can't happen. So I think there's a lot of bad information out there, and some of that is just because it gets passed down and it gets passed on, and adults with fears pass it on to kids so they have fears, and then they grow up and it keeps generationally getting passed on, and it's bad information. So that's kind of one of the things I try and do is, here's the correct information. Please educate yourself. Please dispel what you were told about, driving past the cemetery and picking up your feet because the spirits are going to enter you because it's all rubbish, kind of thing.
Well, you got to hold your breath until you see 3 white houses, right?
What? No, I've not heard that one.
You haven't? Yeah, that's what we did when I was a kid.
No, I have not. But I think there's so much erroneous and really bad information out there. So it's just putting a little good information. There's this video on YouTube. Do not go watch it, please. But it's like the 10 things funeral directors don't want you to know about, when you die or whatever. Don't go watch it because I don't want to give them any more views because it's all crap. So I did like the 10 things funeral directors want you to know, basically saying everything they didn't think that we're hiding. And so that's the thing, is people thinking that we're hiding stuff. And because for a long time, the curtains were shut when the casket was closed. And people thought there was a smoke and mirrors thing going on because we tried to do things in the dark and behind the scenes and stuff. So I'm an out in front, lights on, stark white, bright lights kind of person, and it is what it is. So I let people kind of see the nitty gritty of what we do. And I've had funeral directors say, why are you talking about this stuff? Like, people don't need to know this stuff. And I'm like, if you're doing something you don't want to talk about, then you're doing something that's not good, or that's not right, or that you should question. Because every single thing I do, I should feel okay talking or saying it out loud to anybody. And that's just my feeling on it. But a lot of funeral directors don't feel that way. So that's kind of
I like that.
the side part of it. But
I actually just watched your video on the naughty list.
the naughty list. I have a part 2 coming up. I gotta just
Nice.
record it. It's funny.
Nice. It's a video where she talks about bad morticians, the bad things that the people have done. I mean, there's bad people everywhere. So,
Oh, yeah.
So it's just like, it's interesting. And for some reason, us as human beings, we want to hear more about the bad than the good. So that was a really cool show. And on your show, you do quite a few different shows. You have your coffee talks. You have your I'm sorry if I don't remember them all.
My 2-Minute Tuesday is kind of been a big one. And then I do a Coffee with Kari, which is my live video where people kind of like this, where people can ask me anything and I try and answer them rapid fire. Some days I'm surprised by how many, and I can't even keep up, and I'm like exhausted after. And then I try and do another in there, and then I get some series going and just different things. I'm kind of all over the place, but over 600 videos. It's insane to me. Like, I just can't even.
It's a lot. It's a lot. And I'll tell you what, you said you're doing it for 4 years and you have over 90,000 followers. I'll tell you what, I come from a team that made documentary videos on YouTube. I think we ended with 7,000
Wow.
subscribers, and that to me was insane. And so we did it for about 3-4 years. So what you did to me is just incredible. It just shows how much impact that your work does do for people, and your videos, your energy is so positive, and it's great. It's easy to watch and easy to follow. So it's just great. Ken Allen's here. So do you ever have that negative experience? You're like, okay, I have to sage or I have to bless or something.
I have had some people tell me I need to sage. I have never saged except for during a Native American service where they sage and there's sage everywhere. I've never actually saged, I guess. I probably should. I don't know. I guess I need to be told more about it and need to figure out more about it. Just to cleanse me, or I don't know, but I don't know. I'm not sure. That's an area that I'm just, you don't know what you don't know. And I say that all the time. And that's one area I just don't know anything about per se, I guess.
I mean, yeah, it's just a good way of changing energy. I mean, it doesn't matter what you do in life or whatever. It's just a good way of bringing in positive energy, changing the energy around you. And, it's a way, some people use holy water. Same kind of deal.
Oh, yeah. Kind of just a purifying of some sort.
Yeah. Apparently, Google, my tick watch, doesn't understand. Right. Well, thanks.
It's going crazy.
Wow. So, if anybody has, if we have an investigation at a funeral home or something comes up and you need to learn something about funeral directors or a mortician, go check out Kari's page. Is just so full of information. I couldn't even begin to tell you where to start. I mean, legit, you talk about everything.
Literally, I try everything. And it's a lot of it is just viewer driven, where I get emails or recommendations or thoughts or something, and I keep a running log of videos to do, either 2-minute video topics or full videos to do. I could be doing videos literally 100% of my working time, and there's just not enough time, energy, financials to do the traveling, everything to do it. But there's so many places I would love to go. There's so many video series I would love to do. My whiteboard is insane. I'm looking at it right now of the guests I want to line up, the places, just stuff. And there's just such a desire that people want to know this stuff, and I can't provide it fast enough. But I just plug along slow but sure. I'm like, things that were on my list 3 years ago are still there. I just have to slow but sure get to them and find the right way to do some of the videos. Like people wanted me to do a video about dressing. I don't ever show deceased. I don't ever, disrespect anyone's loved one in that way. I try to really protect things in that way, but you got to show stuff. So like I did an embalming video where I was the deceased. I put on a nude colored full leotard. I laid on the table and my friend went through the steps of embalming me, used a red Sharpie like a scalpel as to where they would, cut into me. And we walked through the whole process. That video, it, for some reason, doesn't get hit on as much as the others because YouTube like put I don't know, not a blocker on it, but deemed it undesirable somehow. So more people don't watch that one, but it's super fun. Like it's a fun video just because I'm the dead person, which was super crazy to kind of film. And I had finally did a video about dressing someone, and I had to borrow the rescue dummy, Randy, the rescue dummy from the local fire department. And I couldn't move that thing by myself, almost peed myself with the funeral director's wife out in the parking lot of the funeral home I used, trying to get this thing in the building. And her and I alone couldn't move it. It was so heavy. But that's what I used to dress, just to try and simulate dressing somebody. So it's trying to do videos well and not just do them half-butted. I can't say that word, but just to try and do them for people. So it's slowly over time, I'm getting some of the most requested done. It's just I want to do them well, and I want to, give good information and not just put something out there to put something out there, I guess.
Definitely. So since you've gained, I mean, I would definitely say that your channel is successful, and I definitely feel like you've done it quickly. In our community, there's a lot of people who want to put out content, and they want successful channels. What would be one piece of advice that you would give somebody who wants to build some success on YouTube?
It's patience. So I had a dad call me once, and he said, my son wants to be a YouTuber. Will you talk to him? Sure. So I got on a video chat with the dad, the son, and myself. And I said, so what kind of videos do you want to do? I just want to follow my life. I said, and what's your angle? I don't know. It's just my life. I said, there are, 4 million people out there at a low number trying to put out videos just about their everyday life. You need to, one, be consistent. You're not going to get 1 million followers overnight. You need to comment back to people. Commenting is a big derivative of the algorithm, which I still can't figure out with YouTube because it's pretty wanky. But you have to be consistent. You have to do it because you want to do it. You can't watch the numbers with everything you do because you're always going to feel let down because you're not gaining what you feel like you want to gain. So you have to do the content because you're helping one person and because you're putting it out for one person. You can't buy into the people who are goading you and trying to get you to argue with them because those people are there. There's a lot of sad individuals that watch YouTube and try and just engage people in a negative way. So you have to understand that side of it as well, because that can really mess with your head. But consistency, good content. The video is not as important as the audio. That is a huge one. If you can't hear what somebody's saying, your video is worthless. But if the video is bad and you can hear it, there's still something there that's of value. I can tell you that about several videos I have, and I will get bashed on them because they can't hear it quite right. But the ones where the video's messed up, but the audio's good, they're like, yeah, the video's not great, but thank you for the content. So, there's little nuggets, but you just have to be consistent, because even after 6 months or a year or 2 years, you may not get to be where you're at. You can't figure out, is virality even a word? How anything going viral. Like you could have 10 subscribers and have one video that all of a sudden goes viral and you just blow up. But nothing, you can't plan for that. You can't figure out what that is. People can buy subscribers on YouTube. People can pay for views. People can, get all of that purchased for them. And I refuse to do something like that for a number or for whatever. It's not worth it. It's just that organic growth and organically putting something out and understanding it is what it is. You can't go into it as it being a method of making money for yourself, because it may never be.
Mm.
When I was on Activision, that's mostly Eric, but we wouldn't pay for views, but what we would do is we would pay Google to advertise. So it'd be like come up first on the list.
Yeah.
And Google's coming up on my watch list.
Of course.
And so so that's one thing. It can get to be very expensive. We did not make a dime. Some of our videos got over 100,000 views. We've made absolutely nothing. The money we did make got donated to locations, and it's just, but that's not why we did it. That's not what we were about. So it worked for us. Now I'm sure that you monetize though.
I do. So you can monetize once you have 1,000 viewers. You can start monetizing, but you have to have 1,000 views within 24 hours as well. So you have to have 1,000 subs and 1,000 views in 24 hours to monetize a video. And it is pennies. I mean, it is penny here, penny there, penny there. So it doesn't add up quickly. You've got to really get videos that have a lot of views over, in the big picture. And you have to get them to have a lot of comments, a lot of things. And then that is when YouTube is going to recommend your videos more. And that's when you start getting a little growth. But I can post my coffee, just to give an example, my coffee with Kari videos, I have the exact same description on my video every week. Every single week, same thing. The thumbnail is different, but everything else about it is the same. Some weeks I'll have 20,000 views within 2 days, and it just blasts. And then others I'll have 1,000 views within 2 days. I have no idea why. There's no logic. There's nothing. It's just, I don't know. So I can't figure it out. So it's one of those where all I can do is plug along, put out my content. It is what it is. Whoever watches. I'm thankful for everybody that does. I try to respond to as many comments as I can. And I've had people go, wow, I've commented on so many videos over the years and nobody responds to me. And I'm like, what? And I try for the first 3 years, I responded to every comment, literally no fail. It got to the point where I couldn't quite keep up sometimes, but I try, and I would then go in and I would comment for 2 days and catch up as far as I could to 3 months back. And then I'm like, okay, I'm good. And then it would get a little away from me, and then I would try and catch up. So I try and comment as much as possible because I want people to understand I'm thankful that they watch my stuff and I hear them. And people share stories, deep rooted stories about loss and life and things they've carried with them for 30, 40, 50 years. Wow. People die. It's not just little 2 sentences. They write paragraphs on these videos. And I don't want them to feel that that's lost. I want them to feel heard in some way. So it's important to me that they're sharing. But
well, also it is social media platforms. So you commenting back does help your channel.
Yes.
The algorithms and stuff.
It does. Yep.
And it's so great that you're so thoughtful with what you do.
Yeah.
I just my grandmother, she's in what they call a retirement, what is it? Get the other word. It's not, it's like a vacation home, a resort, retirement resort. That's what it's called. In Scottsdale, Arizona. It's fancy and it's fancy. And but still, I'll remember when I went and visited them. I live in Ohio, so I flew out there. And the first thing my grandfather walked me up to is the shelf in their library of the building. It says, this is where they post who's died. that day. I check this every day. I get up every day. I get my morning orange juice and my orange whatever, and I check this shelf every day. Like every day. Death is a part of your, like, they're 90, right? They're facing death every day.
Yep.
I couldn't imagine that. And then there's people like you live death every day. Like how can that, I don't know, like, do you have like a spiritual way of like dealing with that, or is it just like become like is it like a chef like dealing with their food, they get used to it?
You kind of just turn some things off in your world, and unfortunately it's a negative side of what we do. I mean, like, you walk through and you just walk past some dead people and you're just talking, and sometimes it's like they're not even there. They're just part of what you're walking past. It's like there's a table, there's a dead person, there's a box, it's just like another thing, because it becomes so commonplace, especially right now. We're in such a death spike that there's just people everywhere. It just feels like, but it's just part of you. But then when you lose someone yourself, you can't turn it back on, and you can't turn on going through emotions, and you can't turn on grief the way anybody else does. So you go through this muddled, like, okay, I should be feeling this, but I'm not feeling this. And then things hit you at weird times, and grief becomes this weird muddled mess that you maybe 3 years later, all of a sudden you get whacked with something and you're like, oh, I think that's what I was supposed to feel three years ago. Here it is. And so I think that part of it, I realized last fall, well, a year ago, I went through a divorce, and you go through grief in another way in a divorce, but I couldn't protect myself from that because I didn't have that part turned off. And I felt these grief things, and I was like, crap, is this what people feel when they're losing someone? I felt like I connected to something I didn't realize ever existed, because I'd never gone through any emotions like that, where you go through the swings and all of a sudden you're on the floor crying, and I'm like, dang it, this sucks. I can't imagine people going through this. And yeah, it's quite a crazy thing, but I think that is part of it. You have to turn some things off in order to be the tasked individual to facilitate. And people are like, man, your job's so sad. And it's like, yeah, but I didn't lose anybody. I come to work. I take care of what needs to be taken care of. I take care of families. Part of that is taking care of a body.
Yeah.
To me, that's not fully, it is a person, but I don't know them through action and laughter, and I'm not connected to them in any way. So I can take care of their body the way they need to be taken care of. To me, I'm going to take care of that family with more emotion than I am that body, which is crazy to think of. But truly, that's how I do things, I think.
Yeah, it's almost black and white. Like when it's business, it's black and white. And like some people, they don't really get that, because sometimes people's businesses deal with a lot of emotions or even death.
Right.
And it's almost even like trying to communicate with someone. It's okay, like I'm going to explain the process, but almost like, when you're explaining it, it's just black and white. It has nothing to do with like emotions or specific people. It's more just the black and white of the nature or the math or, whatever it is, and like the process. And,
right.
it is very difficult for people to understand that if they're not in a field that deals with that almost black and white nature, almost like you have to, because if you didn't shield yourself like that, if you didn't look at it as like math or a process or black and white, you wouldn't be sane.
Right?
Yeah, there's no way. I mean, seeing the things we see, like there's a million jobs I would not want to do. I mean, I could list a lot really probably quickly. This is what I was geared to do. This is what I can handle. This is what works for me. And that's okay.
Definitely.
I mean, I don't want, if I can handle carrying what I see and what I do, why would I want somebody else to have to do that?
Right.
That maybe can't carry that, or, can't process it. I
mean,
mean,
it takes a special person though to do what you do.
Correct.
Because like you said, you're helping people. You're helping people at some of the worst times of their life, through some of their hardest grief that they'll ever face. And then there's you who comes and you help them piece at least that part of it together.
Well, it
And
depends who you talk to. If it's the news that say we're just vultures and or greedy,
well,
or
everybody is. So are
Yeah.
doctors, right? So are insurance agents. So
everybody
are
is. Yeah,
anybody who's trying to make a buck is. I mean, what are you going to do? I mean,
exactly.
that's horrible. But that's. So I don't know. I wouldn't know one way or another as far as that. But I know that as with dealing with death every day and working with people the way that you do, I mean, it takes a special person to do that. And
Thank you.
so kudos to you for
I think
doing
we're
that.
special.
I
Depends on the
think
version of special every day, but
I think it does take a special person to do that. And I watched
Yeah.
the round table conversations that you have with the two fellas.
yeah,
Or sometimes it's three, right?
yeah. This last one was 3.
Yeah. It was. I mean, it's a lot of fun, and all three of you are morticians, funeral directors,
Yeah.
and you guys sit around and you conversate and you guys have fun and it's actually really kind of cool to like because you don't think like I don't know maybe people think of like the movie Phantasm, right? I mean I don't know, you know,
That's really
um,
painful.
right. You got the spirit and the so but there's just so much and there's so much that really goes into what you do. It's more than just greeting people at the door.
Well, that's my daughters are very, I have 2 little girls. They're 6 and 8. They know what mom does in concept. And they go to the funeral home. They like to visit the people at the funeral home that they know. Like the other day, I was like, okay, all these boxes, there's somebody in these boxes right now. They're going to the crematory. And they're like, they started counting, then they count names. And they're like, oh my gosh, there's so many deceased, there's so many dead people here right now. And I'm like, yep, we're taking care of all of them right now, blah, blah, blah. And then they go and want to find the person who has M&Ms on their desk. Like they are at the point where it is kind of second nature to them. And that's kind of how I want them. I want them to not fear ever going there and doing that. But
Right.
I had a train of thought and now it just went to M&Ms on desks. What were you saying, Shawn? What did you just say? Oh my gosh. It went sideways. What did you just say before that?
I was just saying how there's so much more to what you do other than just greeting people at the door.
Yeah. So, I mean, if my girls are in the car and I have to return a phone call, it's okay, girls, mommy's got to call somebody who just had somebody who died. We got to be quiet. And I'll call them on the phone. And I was on hold trying to do this call for like 20 minutes. And we had the hold music going in the car. And finally I gave up and I hung up. And my daughters are like, this is what you literally do every day. And I was like, yeah, I don't just take care of dead people all day. There is a million phone calls. There is a million piles of paper. There's all this other side to it that people don't see. So that's one thing when like people are like, oh, I'm interested in going into this and I want to be a funeral director. I'm like, go shadow. You need to spend a day or two with the funeral director. You need to actually see what we're doing. I'm not like altering lives every day, helping people, holding their hands and being their person. Like, yes, there's those great moments, but in between, I'm doing 1,000 emails, making all these phone calls, having to hound people for payments, do this, do that. There's all this other side. It's a business at the end of the day. And so that part of it has to be seen by people going in the business. So I'm always like, you have to get in and see that because a warm and fuzzy you felt at one funeral, that's great. And yeah, that person affected your life. But to do this every day as a job, you need to see the whole experience, the whole big picture. And so my girls saying that, I was like, yep. I wish you could videotape this and put it on a video and people would be like, gosh, this is boring to watch. And I'd be like, yep, this is the other side of what we have to do is the business side of it.
Yeah. And like everyone's job always has like the extra layers that no one sees. But if it's anything managerial, that specifically no one ever gets because in whatever field, if you're in some kind of leadership role or where you have to do the managerial side of it, that stuff is always daunting and it actually like makes you appreciate like those magical moments more. But it is actually wild how much managerial aspects just run your entire life, and no one ever gets that or sees it. So,
Yep, agreed.
Yeah. Now, I bet you've had some really crazy requests. Aaron Katz, Marcia Katz, what is the strangest request you ever had to get a person ready? Now, when I read this question, I don't know. I'm a movie guy. I'm sorry. I relate a lot of things with movies. I thought of the movie Eulogy. And
I haven't seen that.
you haven't seen that? Like Ray Romano's only good work of art. So yeah, we're talking about these actors and their only good movies. They're coming up today. So Eulogy is actually, I found it hilarious. You might too. But at the end, the dad who died, he wanted to be like sent off and like have
well, they naturally
a
said
Celtic.
Shawn.
They wanted to have a Celtic like that funeral. So basically, they pushed him off in the lake, and they wanted to light his body on fire.
Oh yeah, like a Viking.
Yeah,
funeral.
Viking funeral. Yeah, I would like. I think that would be cool. Like, can people do that? Is that a thing? I don't know. I just asked you a bunch of questions.
No, you're good. I'm totally want to do a video on that, so I'm gonna mimic that and try and do a video on that in the spring. Honestly, because how fun would that be? I don't know what I'm gonna light on fire, but I don't know, but I'll make a nan out of something to light on fire out there. So no, you cannot really do that. Not so much legal. I think though, did I read that they're trying to legalize it in Maine? I don't know. I feel like there's a state that was trying to legalize that last year. I saw some
I think I remember that actually.
info on. I'll have to look that up. So the strangest thing, and people ask this, that is one of the main questions. Like, what's the weirdest thing? What's the strangest thing? It's all relevant to what you believe is strange and weird. Because to me, like, someone saying, oh, I want 3 different outfits like Aretha Franklin had. That might be strange and weird to people, where to me, it's like, whatever, people do that. So it's all relevant. I've had people ask for people to be buried naked, different things put with people, to have a pink outfit put on a man because he was always a jokester and they wanted to get the last laugh on him, just different weird little things like that. So it just depends on what your version of weird is. I think, like, if you ask me a more specific question, I could give a more specific answer, but it's, 20 years of working all sides of the funeral business is hard to.
Have you ever done one of the funerals where people wanted the body to be posed in like a living position?
Extreme embalming. No, it's very uncommon. It makes, if you look at the articles you see, it's all like the same 4 bodies that have ever had this done. Yeah. So it is not a common thing. It happens a lot in Puerto Rico. Why in Puerto Rico? I don't know. But there is a funeral home down there that does this more often. I do have a woman, sorry, there's something in my eye, so I'm going crazy trying to get it out. There's a woman in Canada I'm going to be interviewing who did this, and she has agreed, to talk through. She's super excited. She's super awesome. And we just haven't lined up her schedule. She's hard to get a hold of for me to line up. So hopefully that'll be one of my first videos in the new year, is getting her and I to do our video and chat about it, because she has done an extreme embalming, but it's not very common. To me, it seems like a huge liability. And the things you're going to have to do to get the person posed like that, it's not going to be for long term, and it's not going to produce someone who's super preserved. So to me, it's a huge liability, but it could be done. Does somebody want to pay to have it done is the question also, and to what that's going to look like on, monetarily.
You mean that stuff's not free?
Oh, no.
There's costs for everything.
A little bit. So a little bit, especially something like that. I can't even imagine the legal paperwork that you would need to do, because it just takes one time, that his head falling at the wrong moment, or the person like falling off the motorcycle, or starting to purge out because you have them in a position. Like, there's so many things I feel like that could go wrong. I see all the negative, and if you can convince me how to oppose each of those negative angles, then maybe we can talk me into doing something like that. But
plus, you'd have to like put out some sort of roping, right? Because then you get the casket crawlers.
Well, none of us. You could go up and take pictures with some of these where people are sitting with them taking pictures.
Yeah.
To me, it just seems like a logistical nightmare of
Well,
epic proportion. But
didn't they used to do that? Wasn't it like normal practice to like get your family photos done with the body and everything?
correct, eyes open, everything. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of, if you look at funeral photography, I mean, it was a huge thing back in the day that you took photos with the deceased person, and there's even photos it's like, guess which person is dead, because it's hard in some of the
Yeah.
photos to actually guess which person is the deceased, because eyes are open, especially when it comes to the kids, when they're the kids or babies. It's sometimes really hard to tell.
Can be,
So
especially since they're old black and white photos.
yes, it's difficult because if you look at that era, it's not like they had a lot of photos sometimes. And so
Right.
sometimes that photo is the only photo maybe they had of that child was their dead photo.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's weird. Everybody's going to go back and look through their ancestry photos.
It is weird though, and like every culture has a major ceremonies. Death is a big part of every single
Huge.
culture,
Huge. Yep.
and everybody has it, and so you get to work. Do you work with mainly one religion, or do you work with all?
All in some essence. We don't encounter much like pagan or Wiccan in our area. We are pretty vanilla, but we do have, one of the funeral homes I work for and do work for, because I'm freelance. So I work for different funeral homes in different capacities and covering when people go on vacation and things. But they do a large volume. So with that, they encounter different religions more often than others. So we do get Hindus and Sikh and Muslims and Jewish and things like that. And I love being part of those because I love kind of witnessing the traditions of other cultures. To me, it's fascinating.
A lot of the cultures, I mean, I was brought to there's a lot of very strict rules that they may have.
Yeah, I don't know if it's rules or if it's just tradition. It's what you
Tradition,
do.
rules. See, I was brought up Jewish, so to me it was like
Okay.
rules, but it was tradition. There are rules created by tradition, right? But yeah, but yeah, to me it was always rules. That's how it was treated. Like in Judaism, it's like there's a lot like Catholicism. It's a very guilt, you got very proper. Sorry.
Well, and it's this deep traditions in some of these religions, which I love because they instill a version of caring for the dead that we don't have now as much. We are the quick disposal. I don't want to see them again. Direct cremation, take them home, put them on the shelf, or go dump them in the woods. But I never have to see grandpa again. Kind of society is what a lot of is building towards. So working with these traditions of the family is all involved. You bathe your loved one, you wrap them, you are there till the end, you take part in their death process, and you are part of all that with them. To me, that is beautiful. And that is something that I wish our society did as a whole, because we do not do that as a whole anymore here in America. And that's sad to me. It's this shift that I don't love. And I see these old school traditions that still carry that out. And that to me is beautiful.
And that makes sense. I mean,
sorry if I offend anybody by that. But
I mean,
I think you're fine.
I think you're fine too. I mean, I don't think anyone really knows the right way. I think that people kind of just go through the motions nowadays, and they go and you talk probably. I imagine you're talking to someone behind a desk, and you're making all these choices, these hard choices, and,
yes,
and the choices you're not ready to make, and then you made the choices, and then you write the check, and you walk out, and you're done.
Right. Well, and so many people are like, oh, it's because I don't have money, or it's based on cost. No. Even if you want a basic cremation, because that is the least expensive in our in our country, that is the least expensive thing that you can do. You can still be there when the cremation happens. You can still go see your loved one for a last time. You can still physically yourself wash them, dress them, brush their hair, do something to be part of it. And so many choose not to.
Yeah.
It's a direct disposal. It's a disposal of a dead person rather than caring for our family member. And I'm not on board with it. I can't get on board with that. And it's not because I'm a funeral director. It's just me as a person, because I physically couldn't do that with my loved ones. So it's just my mentality, I guess. And some people want to avoid death or want to avoid all of that stuff, as some people say.
Right.
So that's why they avoid it. But to each his own, you know, I can't, it's whatever makes you comfortable. So
True.
I'm gonna. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I'm just reading some of the questions on this side.
Who is Caitlin? Holly Miner is very excited about you working with Caitlin Doughty.
Yeah, Caitlin is she's Ask a Mortician on YouTube, and she stirs the turds within the funeral directing business, because there's a lot of funeral directors who are very anti-Caitlin, but she has a very strong following because she speaks about the business. She is not a licensed embalmer. She's a licensed funeral director. She owns a funeral home in California, and she has been very pro cremation, pro natural, just kind of take care of it yourself sort of thing. And a lot of funeral directors don't like that. She's not anti-embalming. She's just pro what she has chosen to be pro. And I did some videos with her, and she has a very strong following. She has a couple books that are very popular. And I really enjoyed spending some time with her and talking with her and just conversing about different things. You know, it's a small community, this social media present funeral directing bunch. And so conversing with her and getting to talk about kind of this side of what we do was really great. So we did some videos together and stuff last fall. Yeah, it was last November I went out there. So, yep, she's lovely, and people are hardcore fans when they are fans of hers. Deathlings? Do you call yourself Holly? Isn't it Deathlings when you're a Caitlin fan? I tried to figure out, people, like some of my followers or my subs were like, we need a name for what we are that follow Kari. And I was like, there's nothing. There is nothing. But yeah, Holly, thank you. Yeah, that's awesome. That's funny.
Right. Now, you mentioned how she's very pro embalming natural and all that. Who gets embalmed and who doesn't get embalmed?
So there is not a
I'll be right back.
Oh, you're good. There is not a state that it is a law that you have to be embalmed. So there are laws that say if within a certain time period, like within 48 hours, if you are not cremated or buried, then yes, you have to be embalmed. So there are caveats to the laws, but there is no specific law that says you have to be embalmed for this. Now, cemeteries can require that you're embalmed to go in a mausoleum. Funeral homes can require that you're embalmed for a public viewing. You do not have to be embalmed for any set reason except for possibly time and storage. Or let's say you've died and your family wants to wait for a week for cremation and somebody wants to see you. Yeah, they may require, or by law, you might have to be embalmed to be held that period of time. Or let's say like Kansas, to leave the state or come into the state, you have to be embalmed if you're dead. So it depends on the state laws and things like that. But there's no one specific flat law that you have to be embalmed for anything. So big gray area, big thing that people have a lot of misconception on.
Wow. That's crazy. But like, again, me being brought up, like I was baptized Catholic as an adult. Most of my grandfather, he passed, but he was then taken and he was cremated right away. In Jewish, everything is so fast. Their funerals are within 24 hours after dying.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy.
And then in Catholicism, it's like a week, 2 weeks later.
Yeah. Well, and that is the one downfall I see when it comes to some of the other religions. Had a Muslim family once, and they try and bury by sundown. So it, just like Judaism and a lot of it, it depends how devout you are in these faiths, with how much of that and how much we can work with the cemeteries and everything too. I mean, it can't just happen because it's, religious. Sometimes there's factors, but we had this, and this woman died in the morning, and by night we were burying her. It was beautiful. The husband's down in the grave, and he's lowering her down in and placing her so her face is, positioned to the right way. And it was a beautiful thing to witness. But thinking of the fact that the next morning he's waking up less than 24 hours later, and it's over, and she's gone, and it's done. And you're not even starting to process the fact that somebody just told you your wife's dead. And I'm like, that to me is the huge downfall of it, is the psychological that comes about. So Tony asked a question over here on the side. What do you think about the organic burial pods? What burial pods are you talking about, Tony?
Are you talking about, maybe he's asking, like, because you see a lot of posts on Facebook. Like, there's one where we're like in a pod and like you grow into a tree. Or
so if that's the one, I so want to talk about that, because that does not exist. It's not a product. It is not anything. So it was a conceptual thing for a contest several years ago. And this couple that designed it in Norway or something, I have a whole video on this, designed this, and it won. But this is not actually a product. But it keeps, every like 6 months, all of a sudden it like regurgitates and vomits all over Facebook. And then people are all like, oh my God, I want to be a tree. It doesn't exist.
I want to be a tree. Like, is there a way to do it though? Like, can you like have your ashes mixed in? Like, I saw one that's like it looks kind of like a recycled cup. And you like bury it and then you grow in a tree like that.
Yeah. So there are, so the original pods, like little biodegradable things that you could put cremated remains in, and they would put a sapling in and they would bury them. The nutrient factor in cremated remains will kill all vegetation. The pH balance will kill everything. So you have to choose and look into your product that you're purchasing to make sure it has a pH balancer in it. And the newer products do have those, because they realized, oh crap, cremated remains don't do what we think they're going to do. They aren't fertilizer because it's a body. Because of the process of cremation, this thing kills all the vegetation. It's an interesting, but the burial pods, the video on it that I did with, I think I did it with Melissa, who is the mod mortician, and she does a lot of like green burial stuff. And Aaron, I can't wait to talk about what you just posted. So, oh boy. So that pod, to physically get, let's talk grandma, geriatric grandma, who, even if she is small enough to put in the pod, to get her bent into the position when she's in rigor mortis to go in this pod, then to figure out how we're going to take grandma smashed up against the side of this plastic see-through container with grandma's face smashed against, as she's decomposing, with the tree hanging out the top, driving down the road to get to the cemetery where she's going to be buried. Like, logistically, this is not happening. It's just physically not, or let alone taking a 250-pound man and putting him in this. Like, it's just not physically happening. That's why this product does not exist, is because it's not feasible. Not to be a big negative Nancy. So then, can I please do that to my mother? So then the biodegradable mushroom, if you're talking about the mushroom suit, like not Matthew Perry. What is his name? Luke Perry, buried in the mushroom suit from 90210. Big deal. So the person who conceived the mushroom suit thing cannot produce any factual thing that this actually works. It is also a concept that has no backing to show that this actually does anything. So it is kind of a farce at this point of an item. There is a mushroom pod that has come out that's more of like a mushroom casket. So conceptually that might work. Haven't heard any feedback on this or gotten any, I haven't seen any actual data on that one. The mushroom suit though, a lot of negative, bad, from what I've heard. And I can't get anybody from that company to ever respond to me. And I have reached out to them many, many times and they don't want to talk because, well, you can guess. Yep. So sorry to damper everybody's dreams of this beautiful natural thing. Just go get wrapped in a shroud and put in a grave that's all natural and go back to earth that way. Much easier.
Oh. Yeah, I'm just going to go back to being cremated and putting my remains in the woods somewhere.
You can do water cremation. That to me is the coolest thing ever, even though a lot of funeral directors hate it being called water cremation because by definition, cremation is a flame production where water cremation is kind of not really, but the legal definition of alkaline hydrolysis is called water cremation to be put on the legal books, but you get mixed with water and lye and your body breaks down into a more malleable form of bone that has to then dried out and then you're processed down into cremated remains in the end. Okay. But it's a water production rather than flame. So
what about diamonds?
Diamonds. So diamonds, you take a small portion of cremated remains, they pressurize them down and make a diamond. So it doesn't take all the cremated remains. Super cool, but definitely check into the authenticity of the company that you're working with.
Yes. I actually, a couple of lifetimes ago, I worked as a jeweler and I was a certified diamondologist, which means absolutely nothing other than I read a book about diamonds. But we had to learn about that. And so that's always interesting. And it's such a neat way to keep your, if you're really close to someone, it's a neat way to do that.
Yeah. Well, and Aaron's asking about putting them in a pipe and smoking them.
I was going to say, like the Snoop Dogg thing, I didn't know the right way to say it.
So Keith Richards snorted, I think, his dad, like cocaine after he died. So there is a lot of things. I have a video on like the top 20 things that you could do with cremated remains if you wanted to, like putting them in your tattoo and pressing them into the ink in your skin. You can have them pressed into a vinyl record. You can have them shot into space. I mean, you could theoretically put some into, your pipe, either your weed pipe, whatever, and try to smoke them. But so cremated remains are the most basic version of something. You can't put those back into the retort and cremate them down further. They are as broken down as they physically will ever get. And so there's all these big hunks of bone. Those are then pulverized down into what looks like an ash. So it's not really ash like you think. It's not like sweeping out the fireplace or a fire pit. It is bone and chunks of very brittle, porous bone material there not material, it is bone, but it's the basic things in your bone. And then those are crushed down into dust, powder, and granular substance.
What happens? Like I have 8 screws in my spine. What will happen to that?
So those are taken out after. So in your cremated remains, some of the cremulators is what the machine is called that kind of crushes them down after. Those can go through it and then they're gone through a sifter, or sometimes they will take a magnet through them before they put it in, or you can see sometimes those big, like a knee replacement. It's big, a hip joint. You just pluck those out. They're all then recycled.
I want these screws to go and be in my urn.
Well, you can put them in there
it's
too.
It's a part of me. Like it was put in me when I was like 30. Like I want to.
Yeah. You can take them. You can take it with you.
like last year, Shawn. So yeah,
No, it was like
still fresh.
it was like 5 years ago. I can't keep track anymore. Time. I have 3 kids and doing all this stuff. Time just
That
blurs away.
that would be something unique where like if you have like a favorite haunted location, you can like have your body like whether it's just the ashes or like just like made into like a skeleton and like hung in a room. So like could you imagine going to the Madison Seminary, walking into one of the rooms and being like
It says in my new book,
The doors kept opening.
you should trust your instincts.
Go for it.
This is crazy, isn't it?
usually I do that transition with like
I love
taking
your
someone
transitions.
out. But that is such a beautiful picture to see Shawn give maybe even like a portion of his ashes into like I don't know, put in some kind of like long gone doll that's still at Madison Seminary. I mean, come on, just like sprinkle a little bit of Shawn in one of those
cool.
creepy dolls. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll hunt you all.
I'm telling you, it's just like
I'll start
pick
throwing stuff at you. You want activity? I'll give you activity.
pick your top 5 investigation locations, and then boom, there's a little piece of Shawn everywhere. Kari,
I'll throw
this is-
chunks of my bone at you.
I
I'm sorry.
have some of those screws.
Yes.
So this is the part of the podcast where we ask you 13 fast fire questions, and you get to answer them as quickly and as thoroughly as possible.
Are these just about my business, or are we just going rogue here?
Rogue.
It could be, who knows? It's
All
the
right.
abyss.
No,
It could be
let's do
anything.
it. Let's do it.
All right.
All eyes on you.
I know. Pressure.
All right. Number 1, you're at your funeral home. The doors lock. The bodies actually start to sit up this time. Who knew? You're there for another 3 hours, and paranormal activity is starting to pop off wildly. What is your plan to survive the next 3 hours?
I feel like we're like zombie apocalypse here.
Yes.
Basically.
I mean, if I was going for a weapon, I would go for the trocar, which is the long, large needle thing from the prep room. I mean, that's where the sharp things are, is all my, the instruments are in there, the scalpels and stuff. So I'd probably go lock myself literally in the prep room. I don't know.
I knew that there would be an intelligent response in there. I just knew it. Oh my gosh. Very well thought out. And I'll give you number 1 and number 13 as a reference.
Okay.
So the next question. People sometimes take a semester off and study abroad for a year, maybe in college. But you in this scenario, you are actually required to take a year off of your career, and you are now a year of paranormal investigating, making a fine net $300K a year. Okay, so don't worry. It's reasonable.
Okay.
What are you going to specialize in, and where would you focus most of your time as a paranormal investigator for the next 365 days?
Oh, golly. I feel as if I would go, like if I just in America, I would totally just go old school, back out to like Plymouth Rock stuff, like the beginning, back to the beginning of America, and go there, or down to New Orleans area, get some of that going, because I have some friends down there that work in the history and the tour guides and stuff, and some of the history. So I feel, but the Wild West, I don't know. I'm all over the place. I kind of like Wild West. I was kind of obsessed with Billy the Kid stuff back in the day, but I also love serial killer stuff. So man, there's no one good answer here. I would have to bop around to a lot of it.
And that's the beautiful thing about having a whole year. You can do it all, Kari. So
Yeah, I can do what I want.
I love it. What's the most frightening experience over the last 20 some years in the field?
Um, Definitely. So when I was young, it was 16, 17, and I was at the funeral home one night. This was before cell phones. This was before like things were too complicated. I don't even think we had caller ID at the time. And a guy called the funeral home and I was there by myself and he was like, I need to help you. You need to help me get rid of my mom. And I was like, I'm sorry, is your mom,
Oh,
died? And I said, he's like, no, she hasn't. And I was like, well, how can I help you? And he's like, is there some way we can just get rid of her? Like, I need her to just be gone. She's annoying me, blah, 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 blah. And he just kept going down this train. I finally said, you know what? I can't help you. I'm hanging up. And I hung up. Well, he kept calling back. And the front doorbell, after like 10 minutes, the front doorbell rang and I was like, oh,
no.
oh my gosh. So seriously, the living far more terrifying to me than the dead, beyond belief.
Amen. Amen.
And so I like took some scissors and I'm slowly creeping to the front door. And it was the owner of the funeral home. I was like, oh my gosh. So I told him what was happening. Well, the phone rings again. So I answer it again. And it's the guy. And he's like, Kari, you got to help me. You got to help me, Kari. I'm going to push it on the steps. I'm
Ew.
going to do it myself. I hung up. The next time, the funeral director just grabbed it and he set it on the desk. And I remember it so clear as day in the guy's voice. And it's just sitting there. Kari, please help me, Kari. Kari, come on, Kari, you gotta help me. And just staring at that receiver sitting on the desk thinking, oh my gosh, like, what am I going to, it was terrifying. Absolutely terrified me to my core. I think because of the tone of his voice and it was super
Yeah.
that slow Kari, like every horror movie.
That's got to be some kind of joke. That's so
Right.
gross.
It was, I'm sure, or
Mhm.
just somebody having a bad night. I don't even know, but it was
Yeah, I mean, that's my
relentless.
go-to when I have a bad night.
You just call the funeral. Yeah, totally.
Gotta get it off my chest. Yeah, that's wild. Why is it important to give out good information when everyone else is focusing on bad or misinformation?
I think because I hate to perpetuate inaccuracy and I hate to perpetuate the fear that comes from it, especially with our business, is that there's so much bad and alleviating a little fear and allowing, I think that the fear drives people away from final moments they could be having with their loved ones because they're fearful of them sitting up in the casket or they're fearful of this happening or
Yeah.
that happening. And I don't want those moments to be there. And I want people to understand what they can do, what they're allowed to do, what their rights are, what legally they can do. I want them to see maybe the funeral directors as someone that is there to help and that they can rely on, they can lean on, that's there to help them, that we're not like against them. And there's so many people that walk in and I'll sit down with us and you can tell they're on the defense before I've even said anything. And I hate that. So it's I do like a little bit of a challenge and that's kind of what that feels like. But sometimes it's really hurtful because you haven't even done anything and they're already against you. So I like good information to be out there.
Yeah. Now, viralization, Kari, has just occurred. Okay. Now, one of your probably like 10 of your videos just went viral. It's insane. The chairman of the TED Talk Association has called upon you. Kari, we're paying you $50,000 to do a TED Talk presentation on 3 points that combine the career of a mortician and the paranormal world to link those two together. What 3 points would you elaborate on at the TED Talk?
Oh my goodness. I thought about TED Talk and like what my topics would be if I did a TED Talk, but never with the paranormal twist. I feel like it would have to be, and this may be the lame, is kind of history of funeral business, like funeral homes and what you might find in them. And because there are some things out there that people have alerted me to and shown me videos, and it's people walking through some old funeral homes that they're doing paranormal investigation and they're saying the most inaccurate crap. And it just makes me so angry because they're saying it just to stir interest in the place. And I like accuracy and I like, factual. So it would be maybe some of that, like, hey, red flags on paranormal activity. I would try and maybe find some authentic, good, documented, maybe connections that have been made and where those are at, and maybe why they're there. And I don't know, maybe some true stories from some funeral directors that were doing, I don't know. Gosh, that's something I've never even thought of, but it could be kind of a fun cross dynamic. I know some paranormal investigators that do the first crematory in the US, and I really want to go visit it. And I'm like, gosh, can I do a paranormal thing while I'm there with somebody? Like, would that be fun? I don't know. That'd be cool. So I don't even know if I answered your question, but
No. You did. And it would be cool. You definitely need to do it. What's the best thing to drink during a long night of being a mortician?
To drink?
Yeah.
Coffee.
Coffee?
Not even coffee. I feel like, because sometimes
You were drinking something specific.
when?
Like right now, I didn't know if.
Oh no! Right now, that's a White Claw.
Gotcha.
Nice.
That has nothing to do with.
Gotcha.
No, you don't want to be inebriated, obviously, or drinking alcohol, going and taking care of people. And if you hype yourself too much on caffeine, if you're just going in to take care of like one body, you could be done within like an hour, and then you're going home to try and get back to sleep. And it's hard. There's enough adrenaline within the moment and within what you're doing that you have to wake yourself up so much, and then to try and come back down, that you usually can't get yourself back into a good sleep if you go in. So, and yeah, any energy, caffeine, anything, no alcohol usually.
Yeah,
Yeah, kind of not great. Not a great thing. So
yeah, I'm with you. Now, what is the most intellectually challenging part of being a mortician?
ooh. I would say, honestly, conversing with the broad dynamic of people that you encounter. I've always said I have to have a very minimal information base on a major amount of topics. Like, I need to talk to the farmer about his farming that week. I need to talk to the Harley Davidson rider about his bike. I need to talk to, grandma, the Dutch grandma about making, her specialty, whatever she makes. And you have to have all these little factoids that you can bust out to connect with people easily, but truly have an interest in it. And every time you bust it out, you learn more about those little areas. And even if it's the same thing you say to every farmer you encounter, they at least know that, hey, she cares about the farming community, or she cares about this. Or, if you say, hey, are you red or green? They know, like, you're either one side or another when it comes to farming equipment. And so you just learn these things over time, and you learn what you're interested in. And sometimes you develop your own interest in things, in hunting, in fishing, and I don't know, sewing, crocheting, knitting, whatever it may be. And it allows you to connect with more people. I think, to me, that is some of the more deep intellectual that you have to do, is have these million categories of information pieces. They have to be ready to just grab and pull out and use.
Yeah, I mean, all of your time studying and all the book work and everything, you would think that it's these complex situations, but however, it's almost a dualism of, one, trying to build that commonality, and two, making the information that you're delivering consumable to them. And it's that dualism that really intellectually stimulates you, and it's not at all what you read in the books. That's so interesting.
Yes, very true.
That's another hour conversation we could have, but we'll move on to the next. We'll move to the next one. If you could have one paranormal question answered, because obviously we have a lot of paranormal questions and not a lot of answers to them. If you could have one of those questions answered, what would it be?
Oh my gosh, how much dead air do we have for me to think about this? Gosh, that is, I think there's just so many, whether it's a personal thing, like, hey, was somebody really there when I thought they were there in this moment? Or can this person really connect with me? Or, oh my gosh. I don't really know. Literally the only thing that comes to mind was a moment that I had at a house I was staying at, and I always smelled this woman's perfume when I was there, and it was very specific at specific moments in a specific spot, and nobody was there but me for like months. It was an empty house except for when I stayed there, and it would only just all of a sudden pop every once in a while. And I'd love to know like if someone was there and who it was and why that was happening, because there was no reason for there to be anything. And some moments I think we all, if we've had encounters of questionable nature, to know who was there, and if someone truly was, why they were there, why us, why are they showing themselves then, why is their presence there at that moment, do they know we're there? I don't know, some of those kind of things, more so than anything to do with the funeral business. It's just things that I've experienced myself. Somebody crawling up in the bed with me when I was with my daughter one night, just different stuff that it's like, I would like to know what the answers are to those moments.
I mean, that's why we're in the field, but that's just like, I mean, that's why you would go with your friend to the first crematory.
Exactly. How fun would that be?
That's exactly why people get into this field. What's one of the favorite items that you have behind you?
Behind me?
Yeah.
Oh, behind me. There's a bunch of just books. I have one of my first meet and greet. I have a thank you from the person who did my first meet and greet. It was out in LA, and it was my first time trying to do a meet and greet, really. And she's the only person who showed up, and she was the most delightful, and she brought me a gift. And I thought, someone like literally drove for a very long time, brought me a gift to come meet me, and I am just me. Like I think it was one of those moments. So that's kind of a big thing. And I get all sorts of crazy, wonderful, I say crazy, but not in a back way.
Yeah.
Things from people take the time to literally send me stuff. I've never done that for somebody, and to know that somebody thinks enough of me. I've got pictures of my grandparents in this little basket, pictures of my girls, all sorts of flash drives that I have no idea what's on them. So I need to like one day sit and go through these. An old, what are these called? Nano iPod things?
Yeah.
God only knows what's on this thing. I think did I use it when I was in labor? I have no idea. I think maybe I did. That's, from like 8 years ago. A trocar button. I have a trocar button in this little basket, which is, if you don't know what it is, go watch my 2-minute video on trocar buttons. So all sorts of randomness. I don't know if it's favorites, but I'm a collector, and I am someone who has sentimental value in a million ways and in a million things. Like the shelf I look up at over here, it's like a window shelf and pictures of special things and like all sorts of little collections. And I have stuff that probably means literally nothing to anybody but me. So like if I were to die tomorrow, people will go through this stuff and they'd have no idea why it was there, but I do, and I know people who keep nothing. I know people who have no pictures. They don't have pictures from when they were younger. They don't have stuff. And I have just stuff. I have a whole tote that was my grandma's, that I have special stuff of hers. I have a whole tote of my niece that was her special stuff before she died. I have, I keep stuff because
Maybe,
I don't know. Yeah, whether stuff is attached to that or not.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if that's your line of questioning there, Mr. Bryan, but maybe it does, which is kind of cool to think. I don't know.
Yeah. No, my only suggestion would be, if you have like a book and you kind of elaborate on the why those items are important to you and what kind of value it brings to you, in case you go to heaven prematurely, that way, your girls can kind of understand the value. That might be something to consider. But now you are very successful in building and fostering a community. And if someone was really passionate about their hobby, or even their community, whether it's tennis or the paranormal, who knows. What's 3 pieces of equipment you would recommend, like a good mic, a ring light, etc.? What's a good way for them to start out if they're trying to make content so they can foster their own little community?
Honest to goodness, a good phone. Like the camera and the microphone on my cell phone is probably better than a lot of equipment that I have used.
A Yeti.
Oh yeah, the Blue Yeti microphone, dang this thing, like it works when it wants. The dang cord. We were talking about this before we went on air because it's just like my cord is balanced up through scissors because it's the right angle to let it be on. It's just ridiculous. But I have an expensive camera. I've got tripods. I've got all sorts of things. And I have found that just using my phone to record allows me so much broader range and ease of use. And then getting a good editing software. That is truly one of the best things because you cannot do enough with like iMovies. It doesn't allow you to do enough for what I feel like you could do. And canva.com, you can do a lot with thumbnails and, just things that you would post on social media for free in their software. So it's getting good software, a good phone, a ring light does work. Lighting is great. Unless you have glasses, which mine are just reflecting that dang ring light right now. But yeah, those just some basic things can get you a long, long way.
Yeah, I also sometimes wear glasses, and I almost have to swap out to my contacts, everything like this, because I have like the headphones.
Yeah.
Everything. Same thing for my ring light. So
Yep.
I feel you, girl. Trust me.
Yes. And then you end up positioning your head really weird. So you don't
yeah.
get a reflection, and then you just look stupid.
I just get the reflection. They get what they get. How can we use a hands-on learning approach in the paranormal field as well as the mortician community?
Ooh. Well, so like for funeral directors, we have to, it is a apprenticeship type business. So you have to do some prerequisite courses, a 1-year schooling, and then you have to do an apprenticeship, and then you have to pay a state and local boards or national boards. So it is a hands-on training to get to be certified and licensed.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the same can be true to be a true, here I am, here's my certification. I have trained with so many people. I have gone on so many, paranormal hunts. I have done this, that, and the other. Like there should be some type of a certification as well. I think it would kind of be the same standards that you would have to show your level of authenticity. Mm-hmm. Like Colorado, so the state of Colorado has no licensing for funeral directors or embalmers. I know, right? So
they're also smoking weed there too.
Well, they do everywhere. We do here.
I guess it is more and more, but they were the first.
Yes, they were the first. They got a lot of things going in Colorado, but so anybody can just pop up shop in the back of their van and embalm a body if somebody trusts them with it. So it's one of those, you need to kind of figure out who you're working with, but sometimes anybody can do some of this stuff and put a bad name for everybody else. So if there's some baseline licensure and certification and everything that you have to train with so many and you have to do so many whatevers to be able to say, hey, I'm this kind of person, then it should be there. I have no idea if that answered your question.
Yeah, no.
I like it a lot.
Rambler, yeah. So
now, Kari, for your 30th work anniversary, because we're approaching the 30th or
20th, April 4/4 will be my 20 years of licensure.
Yeah. Oh, gotcha. Okay, well then let me just scale it down a little bit just to give you some time. Okay, on your 25th anniversary, just so you have an extra 5 years, don't you worry. Okay, on your 25th anniversary, someone has offered you a position for $250K a year to work as a full-time mortician at the Gilmore Funeral Home. Now, this funeral home has never been remodeled and had 3 families living there in the past year. Now, look, to get the $250K a year, you need to live there full-time, sleep there full-time. I'm telling you, it's the whole shebang. Your job also is to coordinate, of course, the paranormal investigations that happen every Saturday. You have to do the history and whatnot. This is that. So they believe in your managerial skills, your mortician skills. That's fine, but they want you to propose your marketing plan on how to market and make it inviting to the paranormal community for these Saturday events. What is your marketing plan?
To not do it. That's a logistical nightmare. Side note. I mean, I think it's easily marketable, but the problem you encounter with that is you're serving families who are going to be highly disrespected by that happening in the same facility. So,
well, if that's an issue, Kari, then actually, we've upped your pay to $300K, and it's not even an active mortician funeral home anymore. It's actually just running the paranormal side of it every single day of the week.
So I just have to live in this used to be funeral home and manage people coming in and go.
Never remodeled either. 3 families. So
it's super janky is what you're telling me.
Well, I'm just saying, like, there's no like safe areas to sleep. Like, so wherever you sleep, I was listening, Kari.
I think I know that funeral home, and I think it's still actually active.
Not the Gilmore one.
No, I'm pretty sure I could take you to a funeral home like that though,
sure.
which is pretty bad. Yeah, I'm good. I'm not even for that much money, but I would think that it would be super easy to get people to come and pay money to come and look overnight for, paranormal activity in a space like that. You would just have to hype up the history of it, set up some old funeral stuff. You can find old funeral stuff all over the place at eBay and everything, and set up rooms, set up the prep room with stuff in it, and, just kind of amp up the
You
stuff.
can put people's ashes in there,
around.
and then you could live and sleep right next to them.
That's true. You just go to Goodwill and find old cremated remains. It's a sad world we live in, truly, because you can go get cremated remains at a lot of places.
There's no way. I thought you were legitimately joking.
No. Literally every funeral home
Oh my god.
has unclaimed cremated remains. Like, there's a closet everywhere. So if those funeral homes close, they often just leave them. So if you hear people go into old funeral homes and they find cremated remains, it's not that something, naughty was going on. It's that they just left them because they were left by the family and nobody ever picked them up. So it's all over the place. And people, there's stories all over. They go to Goodwill and literally find cremated remains, or on the side of the road there's a box of cremated remains, or washed up on the beach there's cremated. It's a sad world.
Yeah, especially when you're talking about honoring people. It's
terrible. It's terrible. But I've had people say, can you just throw them away? I don't want them. No, I can't.
No.
I can't do that. You have to take them and you have to do something. But I've had people say, you know what? I really didn't like them. I'm here just because I have to be. I'm going to pay you. Just do it. Just get rid of them, though. And you're just like, oh my God, this is so
Yeah. It's outlined in the trust that I have to be here. Oh my gosh.
It's terrible. Like, you can do that with pets. Yeah, you can sign over and have them thrown out, which is ridiculous too. But
I agree.
But at least they, I guess, took care of them to that point. I don't know. It's crazy. It's a crazy world we live in. Like, you got to just shake your head and go, what the hey, at some point. So,
yeah. Well, would it end on a not terrible note?
Okay.
Number 13. Yay. Over the last 4 years. Okay, first off, 16 years into it, you find this passion where you fostered a community, the like-minded people that want to grow, that want to share their experience. And I mean, you yourself have just, your intellectual boundaries have expanded completely because everyone's got different ways of doing things. This is that. But you yourself have fostered an unbelievable community over the last 4 years. What's one message you want to give your mortician community?
Oh my goodness. Wow, this is big. You are not alone. That is one thing I try to say, especially during the holidays and stuff, is like, you're not alone. There is someone else out there that has had a common loss. It's never your loss. It's never your exact same emotion or your feelings or your path, but there are other people who have the same fears, that have the same grief and carry things and are in a lot of the same boat. And so you're never alone, even if it's just me here that hears you, or it's somebody else that you connect with that shares a loss as well. Like, you're just not alone in what it is you feel, or if you have a passion to get in the business, you're not alone. Like, you are not alone. So I guess that would, gosh, if I had to say, that would probably be my one big message is, there are so many others that are here and that are out there and that you can connect with through platforms like this, through the online, that you can find a commonality with. And even if it's just a late night communication back and forth on YouTube because you're having a bad night, it can happen, and you're not alone in what you're feeling. Yeah.
I mean, how do you?
Awesome.
That is beautiful. I mean, you crushed that into the abyss section.
I like fly by the seat of my pants. That's kind of how I roll.
Boom, boom, boom. Yeah. Oh, amen.
Yeah.
Good. I like your honesty.
Yeah.
How? Yeah. Nope. Just not going to do it.
Yeah, I'm pretty off the cuff.
Yeah.
How I roll.
And
I didn't curse. I haven't cursed during this whole thing. I'm very proud of myself.
That's really good. We are not censored here.
Yeah. We have the trigger on the kick button. In fact,
I'm keeping myself G-rated for you because
Shawn knows I'll kick him off too because I don't tolerate that stuff.
I am a sailor, and
I'm kidding.
Yeah, it's bad. I have a video coming up. So there's a company called Fiddlehead Caskets out of Nova Scotia, and he makes beautiful wood crafted items, and he makes this casket. But so the premise is that while you're alive, it's a bookshelf, and then you morph it into a casket when your time comes. So all the pieces are there. You fit them together to be a bookshelf. And then when the person dies, you make it into a thing. So this thing is sitting upstairs in my entryway. It's been sitting there for like a month now. I haven't had time. I'm going to, for a live video, put this thing together. The hard part is going to not be cursing whilst doing this. And so, yeah, that's going to be my challenge. So there might be
live.
I'm going to do it live. So my subs have decided, they were like, nope, you have to do this live.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know how long it's supposed to take, but you have to drink some Josh wine because they all know I like Josh wine. They're like, you have to drink some wine. You have to put this thing together live. We'll be there with you. And you got to try not to curse. So I have
That's hilarious.
Funeral director. She's actually a mortuary science student. And I'm like, I need help because I need help filming this while I'm doing it and like changing the angles. And so I was like, whatever you want to drink. She's like, can it be a drinking game? Like every time we drop a screw, we got it. I was like, no, we're going to be wasted by the time we like get this thing half put together. So it's, yeah. But talking about the cursing, like I am anxiety. I think about,
when I build things, when I have furniture, I got to build.
It's not going to be good.
From IKEA, like I tell my kids, my wife, I'm like, just stay out of the room.
Yep.
Because I'm going to be throwing stuff. I'm going to be cursing. You're just going to get in the way. At least I'm going to feel like you're getting in the way just because I'm frustrated.
Yeah.
So it's just stay out of the way.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have to worry about this show.
You said you build like a casket. What's the difference between a coffin and a casket?
Oh, I have a great 2 minutes on it. But so a casket is a 4-sided box that someone is buried in. Whether it has a separate lid, a 2-piece lid, whatever it is, it's a 4-sided box. A coffin has 6 sides. Think old school vampire, old school Old West, where it angles out and then it angles in at the bottom. That is a coffin. A casket is a box. I have families I meet with are like, so let's go look at your coffins. Actually, we don't have coffins. We have caskets. And I know they all think I'm just an a-hole that's trying to make them feel ignorant, but I'm not. I appreciate correct terminology when I'm dealing with anything. And
I thought you didn't like exact information.
I like very exact.
You get one?
You can get a coffin. Yeah. Yeah, there's companies that sell them and make beautiful, handcrafted. It's you can get whatever it is you want.
Do you get people that like identify as like vampires and stuff, and like you have to specifically order the?
No,
Does that not exist in Michigan, or
not so much in Southwest
Yeah.
Michigan. No.
Gotcha.
So like, where are you in Michigan? I know Michigan. They do the Yep.
Oh, I don't
Okay.
even.
I'm like 2.5 hours from Chicago,
Yeah.
2 hours from Detroit.
So like the western, southwestern side.
Yes, I'm down in the
Michigan.
lower corner, over headed towards like Wisconsin and stuff. Yeah.
I know a lot of things, but I stay in my lane, and I don't know geography. It's just like, self-awareness is key.
But like we had some guests, some paranormal investigators, and they started to talk about somewhere in Michigan, and they pulled their hand out like this. I'm like, dude, what is this?
You got to do the mitten.
So now whenever I have someone on Michigan, I have to bring up the hand.
Just like red or green on farmers, Shawn knows it all for this podcast.
Shawn, where are you at in Ohio? What part of Ohio?
Northeast Ohio, Akron area.
Okay, Akron. Brian, where are you?
Outside of Youngstown.
Youngstown. Okay, I know. I have funeral director friends over in that area, and so I went to school in Cincinnati. So a lot of everybody that was there was Ohio. Based. I mean, we had people from other places, but so I got to know Ohio a lot more. And my sister lived in Columbus for a while, and so yeah.
Yeah, my good buddy who's a dentist lives in Columbus. So
I was just joking with a family the other day because they were like, "Yeah, we're from Ohio." I was like, "Does it take you 5 hours to get there?" They're like, "Yeah." I was like, "Literally, it takes 5 hours to get anywhere in Ohio from where we're at in Michigan. Anywhere." I'm like, "I don't know how it's possible."
That's weird.
Anywhere. It's 5 hours.
5 hours
Makes no sense.
I believe it.
No sense.
Especially with like paranormal investigating. So like for Bryan, Ohio, it's just like, okay, it's literally how I spell my name. Yeah. This can't be that far, and it's always like 4 or 5 hours away. I'm like, I'm in the same state. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. But
do you know what's
driving up and down the coast of California? That's a drive. I did that when I was 16.
That's long. Yeah.
Yeah, I did that when I was 16. We drove from San Diego up into the Sierra Nevadas and went camping for a couple of days up there.
That's so funny. No, I was going to say, you said Bryan, Ohio. I almost said Bryan, Ohio before you brought it up because my grandparents were married in Bryan, Ohio.
Oh.
So that was a very common place for people to go because it's right over the border. And so people would go get married because you didn't have a wait time back in the day. So my grandparents were married right after Pearl Harbor in December. They just would have had their 80th anniversary. They both died they had been married for 71 years when the first died. And so they drove to Bryan, Ohio, right over the border, got married behind a gas station. And 71 years later, it still worked. But I meet with families and they'll be like, yeah, they went to Ohio to get married. I was like, did they go to Bryan, Ohio? Yeah, they did. And I'm like, I know this is a thing.
That's awesome.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
Little known fact.
Yeah.
I am.
Did you know there was a battle between Ohio and Michigan over the border there? There's a big fight, and that's where the Ohio State and Michigan what's the word I'm trying to think of right now? Now I'm getting tired. I can't think.
Rivalry.
The rivalry. Thank you.
That's how it started.
That's where it started from.
That's weird.
That's weird.
Stupid little history, I know.
Who won that game this year, guys?
Oh, we're going to check up on that, huh?
Do you want me to Google it, or?
Yeah, you should.
Yeah.
My son would be going crazy right now. So actually, funny story. So my son went over to. I'm not a big football guy. I'm not into football. I'm not. That's not my thing. And so, but still, I was like, watching the game with my son. Like I had this stuff playing, and he ended up going to his friend's house to watch the game because they're more into it, right? And so, which I didn't really blame him, but at the same time, I was a little butthurt, So I'm sorry, I was a little upset about it, and so I texted him a Go Blue picture. He got so mad at me. And now he always calls me a Michigan fan. I'm like, okay, whatever. And they ended up winning. Oh, he blamed me for that.
It's your fault. That's funny.
I am doing my because like I'm gonna be like I'm real close to 50 investigations, and I've never done a funeral home.
Ooh.
I'm doing my first funeral home, and it's in Felicity, Ohio, which I guess is like pretty close to Bryan, Ohio.
Okay.
The Broadwell Funeral Home, maybe.
That's like Southern Ohio. It's owned by Cincinnati.
Well, then why is it all jumbled together with the Bryan, Ohio stuff?
Because it's ran by the same team.
Yeah, it's like not so much near it. It's way south of.
I don't know
geography, that's owned by
guys.
Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Okay, my team, one of the teams I work with, Underground Paranormal, we run several locations where we host investigations, and that is one of them. Where is the poster at? I must have deleted it by accident.
It's like all the Bryan, Ohio things, this, that. It doesn't matter. They're all like 5 or whatever hours away. So to me, they're all at the same place. Honestly. But no, I just go. I just go wherever they tell me to go. But yeah, I'm good. Which is ironic, because within a month, I get to meet you, and I go on my first funeral home investigation. So
nice.
I'll let you know if there's any weird facts or anything, or like misinformation. We'll get them. You know,
you gotta let me know.
We'll see if anything's played up or something stupid.
Actually, one of my friends just purchased an old funeral home that they now use to host paranormal investigations in Pennsylvania, and they were actually commenting that they would love for you to come out there.
Who is this?
Well, his name is Marcus Hogg, and the name of his location. I'm a bad friend. It's in Pennsylvania. Hold on, I'll tell you in a second because it's right here. Greenville Manor in Greenville, Pennsylvania.
Oh wait, look. Look, Aaron was saying that we had to go there.
Yeah. Marcus Hogg, he and his family just purchased that location.
She just says it. She says it again. Oh, that's cool.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Now, when you say yes, does that mean you Googled it and you're like, that is a funeral home, or
Nope, I think that's the one. I hate to say any bad things, but I have to look. I think that's the one that has, I don't know, is that there's a TikTok and they try and say that bodies were hung in the basement, which is completely not, that's not accurate information.
I did not hear Marcus make any claims like that.
I don't know if that's TikTok. The one someone sent. I have to look. So that's why I don't want to say anything.
Do they hang? Like, do you guys hang bodies like by a hook, like in the back? Like
no, that does not happen.
Well, maybe that's how you do it in Michigan. Maybe the people in Ohio. I mean,
Pennsylvania.
No, they don't.
Oh, PA. Oh, it is. Hey, those PA people, they can't drive, and who knows? Maybe they can't hang.
Maybe they can't hang.
This is.
I don't know if that's the one or not that someone had sent me a thing on. I would have to look, but
this is how miscommunication starts.
I don't know, but you know what? That's what it's all about. See, that's the thing, though. That's what this is all about, and it's about learning. And if someone did say that, I mean, it's probably just who knows?
I mean, if it is, I would love to come and look at it and correct some misinformation.
Yeah.
You know.
So, like, I've been to other places, like the one in Cleveland here. Brian, I need your help now. What's the one in downtown?
The
Cleveland?
funeral home in Cleveland? Is that what you're asking?
The big place in Cleveland? Come on. Eric runs it. Oh my gosh, I can't think of it.
Eric runs it? I've never been there. The jail?
I don't know if you've been there. It's in East Cleveland, like in the hood.
Who Eric owns one?
Not Eric. Eric, that's the name of the owner.
Is it like a penitentiary or
No, it's a old,
is it a jail?
it's like an old funeral home.
Is it the House of Wills?
House of Wills. Thank you.
Holly said it. I didn't. Don't even.
I'm like trying to Google it. That's
Carrie knows I'm fake now. Carrie knows.
House of Wills. See, at night, like
You
I
caught
take
me in
the
the
words.
act.
This is what
I
happens
don't
to
know.
me. I'm no longer drinking caffeine. I'm just drinking water here. And
I've been
my
chugging
brain is slowly
Pedialyte, not White Claw.
deteriorating.
Going downhill. That's right.
Yes, that's exactly where we're at. We're actually going over in time, which I'm okay with as long as you guys are okay with. There is one more thing I want to go over, but since we are here talking about time, how can people find you? How can people find your content? You've mentioned go and check my videos out. Where can people find you?
Oh, yeah. Just go to YouTube, type in Kari, Kari, the Mortician, and I'm the only one. That's just me. So you'll find me. It's pretty simple. So, or type in any funeral question stuff. Yeah, I'll usually pop up at the pretty top, or even just Kari Funeral.
Honestly, I did search Kari the Mortician. You popped right up.
Nice.
Otherwise, the link is a bunch of letters and
Which is
that's what
weird.
YouTube does.
Because it should just be Kari the Mortician. It should just be
Yeah,
for my YouTube.
It should be just /. Yeah.
So I'm not sure why it wouldn't be, but
I don't know. Like maybe either way, the link is in the comments, so you guys make it real easy for you guys.
Yeah, that's really dumb.
It used to be, and I don't know why it's not working anymore.
Yeah, you gotta go search the settings or something. That is real dumb. No, like I've done it, and I'm stupid small. So there's no reason why yours can't.
Yeah.
It used to be set that way, but
because I typed
YouTube's
it in.
made a lot of changes in the past.
Yeah, they're dumb.
They're dumb. I agree with that.
Yeah,
I can say that because I have no negative repercussion. You know,
it's true. I mean, our show does play on YouTube, but you know,
that's fine.
Most of our viewers do come from Facebook, but we do play on YouTube.
Channel.
Oh, here, Robert says she's gonna go to your webpage. There's so yeah, the webpage is going across the ticker there. There's just so much. Like there's so much more. Like we could talk probably for hours. And
yeah, it's a really.
I'm here if you ever wanted me to come back. So
awesome.
Yeah,
we appreciate that.
I love chatting. I love just chatting. It's just fun.
Yeah, and that's what we like to do, and we like to out promote. And you know, like I said, I come from a team that promoting was a big part of what we had to do, and it was kind of like sometimes you would go on to shows and there was just like it just wasn't fun. It wasn't like every once in a while you get on one show and it's like a good time, you enjoy yourself, and so that's what I wanted this show to be, and it would be a way to get people out there because we all work so hard for this content, and it takes a lot of time, and a lot of times, a lot of cases, money. This is a free, fun way. I guess it takes a little bit of your time, which is more valuable than money. But
what's a project that you're working on that you're excited about?
Gosh, the casket one will be good. That's just because it's fun. I like things that are a little off the beaten path. Like when I do the beer with the boys and my victims of crime, I love doing every month. I'm trying to do one a month of those where us as embalmers talk about hypothetically caring for a specific victim of crime in different death scenarios. Just to talk about how we would care for somebody that might have been decapitated or whatever it is. So in doing that, we get to talk about a case also, which I love true crime and things. So that's kind of fun. What else I got? I'm looking up on my big whiteboard. I need to tour. I need to get on the road this year a little bit more. COVID really shut me down from some of the things I was trying to do. I want to get to the first crematory. And do that. I want to get into a few more funeral homes and just do some tours. People seem to just like looking at funeral homes and kind of just seeing a little behind the scenes when it comes to them. So some of that I would just like to do a little more of as well. what else do I got? Oh my gosh, I have so many videos. It's ridiculous. A little more crematory stuff. I kind of dived into more crematory. I've got another naughty film. That sounds terrible. Another naughty funeral home video. Yeah, now people are gonna start talking. Carrie's got a naughty film. Another one of those coming up, and 20 questions for crematory operators going to be coming up. So I don't know, all sorts of just different random stuff.
Man, you gotta go on an investigation. You gotta film your experience before or after. Get some solo run action.
That would be awesome.
Go in the
Kari the
basement.
Mortician goes on a real ghost
I'm
hunt.
telling you, that would be hilarious.
Oh, we could make
what
it
an
happen.
interesting vector.
Kari the Mortician pees her pants. It's
we could make it happen. I know of a place in Indiana that's right on the side, right, real close to the border.
Carrie.
Yeah.
You think YouTube is it makes you a dork? Imagine the dorkiest headset with a big GoPro next to, like, in front of your face. You're doing a solo run in the basement. That'd be hilarious.
That'd be
hilarious.
We get really dorky around here.
We have there's a sister couple who she died last year of cancer or the year before. They've written some books and stuff, and they've done some investigating around here, and there's a place in my town, and they got really good on film or on video and audio like this. They said it was demons saying, "That's the one about the sister." And I think it's a sister that died after. And that place I won't go near now because I heard that and I'm like, nope, never again. Nope.
I guess just speaking because you love organic growth. I mean, if you're trying to hit a different audience or hit a different vector that would be interesting for your community, as well as, just branching your brand into a different community. I'm just saying that would be a very cute thing to do sometime in 2022, maybe when Omicron takes some chill. Just
right.
There'll be another one after. So
right, there will be. It'll be
before, during, and after. It's a 3-part series. It's a cute thing you can plan for the fall of 2022, especially during October. Kari, October.
They're going to start naming different variants of COVID after people like they do hurricanes.
They should.
I know.
That would be kind of interesting.
I'm still gung-ho on. I mean, I don't know what kind of Halloween or October content you have. This gives you 10 months to plan. Kari,
I'm so excited about this.
We can get it. We can get it done. We can totally make this happen.
Whatever we can do to help.
Let's do it. Well, you gotta have that brewmaster or the mixologist. I'm sorry, I watched the one where you went to the bar, the mixologist, and
so fun.
And he made the drink with the
absinthe.
The absinthe and the bourbon.
Tastes
right up my alley. I like absinthe and I like bourbon. And
we'll
that would be fun.
We'll find a funeral home that we could sleep at, and then at 3 a.m. we'll sip some coffee, and it'll be like the coffee hour. You know what I mean? Coffee with Kari.
Yes.
At the witching hour. It's that time. Yeah.
Yes.
That'd be hilarious.
Dude, we could call up Marcus so we could get you into the into his funeral home, or we can get you into Underground Paranormal Network's funeral home that Brian's going to. Actually, that one's closer to you, probably closer to Cincinnati. So that
I'm telling you, 10 months to plan.
We can make this happen.
We'll set something up. We'll get something fun.
I like this. It could be fun.
But you can do your before.
You should get your whole like the other two guys that you do your talk with.
God,
get them to come too.
Oh my
god,
god,
they would be a trip.
Oh my fun.
A before video, a video of you actually doing it, and then maybe your not like your conclusion, but your your thoughts on it all. That's a beautiful 3 pieces of content in October that you can.
Oh, it's a nice circle event. I want to really go down to the Burial Beer Company down in North Carolina. So maybe
you got 10 months. You got Kari. You can make this happen.
That would be
you
cool.
You can make this happen. October is your month.
October is mine. It's mine.
I like it.
I claim it in the name of Kari.
Brian.
That's
Brian's awesome. Yes.
Very cool.
Awesome.
Cool.
Nice.
Well, I do. I want to be mindful of your time. We've now gone over by 12 minutes. Definitely want to be mindful of your time, Kari. We really do appreciate you coming on. It is so much fun. Like I said, we could sit here and probably talk for hours.
I know.
And but like I said, I want to be mindful of your time here. So
I have to get up early for work. That's my only hindrance here.
Yeah.
See?
No.
See, so
I get up at 5 a.m.
oof,
God bless you.
oof. See, with my job, I help my office with the West Coast stuff. So and I get to work from home. So I work late. So I have one early day, which is Wednesdays, and the rest of the days I work late. So it allows me to do the podcast, and that actually does kind of bring me into what I'm. Yeah. So with that, guys, I don't know how many people are still watching here, but I got news pertaining to my job, my day job, what pays my family to live and do the sports and the things that they like to do. They're changing my schedule, so I'm no longer going to be working early on Wednesdays.
Is it for sure though?
Yep, that's for sure.
Wow.
It's now for sure. I found out it is going to happen sometime mid-January. So there's going to be some big changes with the show. Brian and I are going to figure it out. It might be a different day. It might be, I don't know. Brian and I have some things to work on. Hopefully it won't come down to Brian just taking over the show and me coming in as I can. But we're going to try and figure this out the best that we can. Right now, I'm hoping that there isn't a show on RU Media Network on Sundays. Maybe we can just switch to Sundays.
Yeah, we'll work it out. One of the plans, Kari, is that we're gonna have a big life-size doll modeled after, and actually, I have him like right here, and I pick up like ventriloquy. I mean, why not branch into another community? There's like a lot of things that we're thinking about.
I love it.
Get one of those unclaimed urns and write my name on it.
It's right. That'd be nice.
Yeah, or just get fake ones. We don't have to bring real ones in here.
Just you come to my fire pit in my backyard.
Yeah. We'll just
fill this thing up with it. It's already got my name on it.
Yeah, basically, Shawn. Yeah.
I'm kidding. I'm keeping this. I'm not giving this back.
Not fit in there.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Yeah, but we'll we got a lot of fun things to discuss, and we're gonna make it work. So
I was hesitating on making the announcement, but I found out today. Well, I guess I have to make the announcement. Our next guest is going to be Linda Dix, and she is scheduled for because we're now every other week, right? So she's scheduled for January the 12th, and we're going to go over. She does predictions every year. So we're going to go over her predictions for 2022, and we're going to go over her predictions that she had for 2021, and we're going to compare, see what she got right, and see what maybe she got wrong. And then we're going to go over and see what predictions she has for this year, and the good, the bad, the ugly, and
that's fun.
She even talks about the Queen. She gets into it. She gets deep into it, and it's a lot of fun. So.
Yeah, it's like how we're going to be like critical of your information, Kari, like how you said that all the bodies set up and that bodies hang from the mortuaries. Yeah. And it's just like it's all that information that we're kind of skeptical on that we're going to be very scrutinous with. Yeah.
Love it. That's awesome.
Brian. But so yeah, guys, we will definitely keep everyone posted on what's going on. It is by far not the end of our Paranormal podcast. It's just going to be a change, and we'll make it work the best. But I mean, family always comes first, and I gotta say, my paying job comes first. My paying job makes it so I can do this because I hate to break it to you guys, I don't get paid to do this. So. And also, another big thing for 2022 for me is I'm going to be managing a location. I cannot talk too much about it because we still have some legalities that we need to work out with the town and everything that the place is in. I'm going to give a little bit of a hint because I ordered this. This came all the way from Alaska. A little piece of history. So people who know about the location will know what this is. It says the Knights of Pythias. So there's a location that was used for them. I can't say the name. I really want
the
to.
Ohio Reformatory.
Yeah, right. But I can't say the name of it. I can't tell you where it is. I'm not allowed to talk about it. I can't do that. But guys, it's coming in the spring. We're working really hard on it, and this building needs saved. It needs a new roof. It needs a lot of work, guys. We need to help them save this historical building, and that's what we're going to do. So there's a lot of cool things that are coming with that too. So since this is the last show of 2021, I wanted to kind of make an announcement without announcing it.
Cool.
I think I pushed the envelope a little bit on that, but I don't care. I'm excited.
Kari, you're awesome.
Thank you. This was fun.
This was a lot of fun. I enjoy all the intricate details and everything, and I don't know.
We need to talk more because there's so much more that we can talk about. There's so much. Yeah. There's so many more rabbit holes that we can come to. Like I still want to know when you're cutting into bodies, like the blood and the juices, they got to go somewhere. Like, how do they not get clogged? Like, what happens when you get clogged? Do you just use a regular snake?
Yeah.
Like, I can't.
On Roto-Rooter.
Yeah.
Plunger. There's not that much chunkiness, I guess you would say, to go down. Hey, Leo. Go down. There's not like big chunky things, so you don't get that much clogged upness.
Okay. See, that I don't know. Like, there's so many things that you think of because, like, when we get into buildings, by the time we get into them, like, they're old and they're like all that stuff is like closed off. It's been covered. It's like
it's not still juicy or anything. So
so we don't see like the actual. We don't get to see it in use in practice. We get to see it years after, and we're trying to figure out the history and how they did all of that.
Yeah.
So
start making your list of questions, and we'll have to go for part 2.
And we do, and actually, I still have a list, and I have actually 2 lists that I have because people on my Paranormal team gave me a list of questions. We got to ask some of them. But it's amazing. Like, our show's 2 hours, which is longer than some, and we still didn't get to cover everything.
There's so many facets to the job that you can talk in one area. You could talk cemeteries for 2 hours. You could talk crematory. You could talk embalming. You could talk caskets. You could talk arrangements. You can talk pricing. You can talk laws. There's all these areas you can talk for. And I think that's why the channel, I thought, man, after doing like 20 videos, there's nothing else I can talk about. And I've not even scratched the surface with 600 videos. It's insane to me.
Yeah. And then to make it consumable, whether it's more interactions or just give me 2 minutes.
Right.
Like that's.
Well, and that all came from one viewer was like, I want to learn what you're saying, but I don't have time to sit and listen to a 20-minute video or whatever. And I was like, all right, I will start I need something. And I came up with 2-Minute Tuesday, and I would do them hit or miss. And then the last 2 years I've done one every single Tuesday. So it's just become kind of the thing.
Yeah.
Very consecutive or continuous, and people like them. People like quick little tidbits, and you can learn. And that's why I say, hey, I've got a 2-minute on that. So terms that people don't understand, they can go watch a quick video and they can learn about it. Yeah,
definitely. And it's great. It's very informative. I actually spent a couple hours going through your channel as soon as Vicky told me about you.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, yeah, how cool is this?
Yeah, when people say they binge watch me, it's so embarrassing. I want to like hide. I'm like, how do you binge? How can I even stare at me for that long? That's so crazy to me. But I just don't.
You know what? I've been on TV. I've been on all sorts of YouTube videos, including the Activision stuff, the podcast. I never get used to seeing or hearing myself. I can't stand listening to myself talk. I can't. And I do a lot of talking for my job. I don't understand how people talk. People, oh, you have such a great voice. I listen to myself talk, I feel like I sound like a moron and that I don't sound right. I don't like it. But you never get used to it. Never.
Yeah, I would rather record a video and send it to someone than a text that's more than like 1 or 2 sentences now. It's way easier.
It is.
And so I just do that and send it. I don't even care. I don't care what I look like. I don't care what I said. Like, I just do it. Now it's so just second nature to me.
Yeah.
I don't even worry about it. It's just crazy. Yeah. What did you just say? Oh, you said something about how you're on TV and stuff. So I did a, which I can't say much more about it, but I did a game show. I recorded it last year. I think it'll be out this spring. So I'll be on a game show here coming out this spring, which is, I can't wait to announce it, but I can't say anything about it.
Oh my goodness.
So it's kind of super exciting. So that'll be fun to.
It's so awesome.
You won the millions of dollars.
Well, I don't know. You have to wait.
Oh my gosh.
No.
She actually owns like 10 different funeral homes. They're
Oh
all
God, no.
haunted.
That sounds terrible.
You got millions of dollars.
I don't want to own that. You know.
That's
Yeah.
what's up.
So it's super fun.
Leo
Wow.
Porter
Good
says
for you.
Kari has the most informative and consistent YouTube funeral service channel. It's less novelty and more conversation. Nice to
Thank you.
see more interaction with other channels and personalities.
Yeah, Leo's been around since I think the beginning, so has been such a great supporter of mine, and yeah, so wonderful. Yeah, and that's one thing that has really been so heartwarming is some of the people that have truly are there on all my live videos. They comment, they message me, they wish me, through every path that because I'm pretty open about different things that I go through in my life outside of, funeral directing too. And they're with me through all of it. And so it's more than just watching videos, and the interactions connect you to some of these people like Leo, who have been with me for the last 4 years of my life through just so much. It's crazy. So it's like, you know people and they know you, even though you don't really know each other, but you kind of do. And some of that is great. Some of it's a little like, ooh, this could go scary level anytime. Not talking about you, Leo, but with people, that's when sometimes people can get a little trippy with it. So I'm always a little aware of that stuff on the side, but yeah.
Definitely. And you know what? I think you do need a name for your followers, because my friend Mike Ricksecker, he has a very very successful channel, and he calls their followers, they're Mad Hatters. I don't know. I don't remember how they got the name, but that's what he calls his like serious followers.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did not a contest, but I did a thing once, and I was like, okay, what do you guys think? And we just never came up with the right thing. And I'm like, it's fine. People can just follow Kari. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. Yeah. It is what it is. So yeah, it's crazy. I love it though.
It's fun. It's great. I think that it's great. I think that it's awesome what you do. And I think that you you open a door of, that's what's so great about technology. You can get anything literally, especially on YouTube. But you have a way of explaining things. It's just like it's very matter of the fact, but it's also not. I don't know. It's easy. It's easy to watch. It's easy on the ears. Easy on the eyes. It's not anything intense. It's not anything too crazy. And you definitely, you can tell you keep everybody kind of in mind when you're doing it. So it's there's a lot of thought into your videos and what you're saying.
Thank you. I try hard.
Well, you do a good job. Was there anything else that you wanted to add before we close? Or
no, I think I've said, yeah. I mean, there's a million things we could talk about, but like I said, we can try and do another one here and dive into more and get some more paranormal maybe stuff behind it and see what happens. But
yeah, and we can help design that October of yours for 2022.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
That's fun. No, thank you guys for having me. It's been good.
Thank you.
No problem. Thank you for staying with us past too. I'm so sorry. Definitely appreciate you and your time.
You're good.
Awesome. Definitely awesome way to end out our year. Such a great show. Everybody, I wish everyone a very happy, healthy new year. I hope everyone has been able to enjoy this holiday season. I know a lot of people out there are sick and you're having to be quarantined and then everything. And hopefully that's as far as it's going. It's not going any deeper than that. And we'll be able to start the new year healthy and get this 2022, but 2021 behind us.
Yeah.
And guys, I hope we helped you guys over this hump day and help you slide on down into the weekend, guys. Stay safe, stay healthy, and be blessed, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
And I should be ready for this. Oh yeah, guys, and check out Ghost Camp.
Yes.
Have a great one.
This paranormal adventure that we're all on, it connects us. This is our paranormal community. This is our paranormal podcast with your host, Shawn Gilmore.
He's worked in the paranormal field for 10 years.
He was featured on the TV show Paranormal Survivor that airs on Travel Channel.
His passion is creating para-unity.
With your host, Brian Mersall.
He's worked in the paranormal field for 7 years.
He leads his own paranormal team.
He wants to help people start their paranormal adventure or grow their existing one. This is our paranormal adventure. This is our paranormal community. This is our paranormal podcast.
It's about supporting. It's about making para-unity a real thing, because we all need to support each other within our community, and that's what the show has always been about.